So this is Unit 1, Lesson 2, Investigation 2. We're going to continue to talk about multivariable functions. Now, so far, all the multivariable functions we've looked at have had what operation? Multiplying or dividing. So now we're going to introduce ones that have
Adding and subtracting.
Adding and subtracting. Now, these adding and subtracting ones, we can't quite classify them as just direct or just inverse, because remember we had, if it has a plus sign, it wasn't direct. You guys remember that? You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so by having that plus sign, we can't classify them as direct or inverse. However, we can look at the variables independently and say, you know, this variable and that variable are directly related, but we can't say the whole function as a whole is direct. Okay, does that make sense? Okay. Now, the multivariable functions we're looking at are ones that fit the form z equals kx plus jy. Now, looking at that function, how many variables do you think we have? 5, right? There's 5 letters in there, isn't there? Right? But what does k always stand for?
Number.
Constant, number. So, if k is a constant, which other one do you think is a constant? J. So, in this equation, k and j are constants. No, I'm not jk. Okay. K and j are constants. And since they're constants, that means that they are numbers. So they must be numbers. And that means my variables are z.
X, Y, Z.
The variables are z, x, and y. Those are my variables. Okay, can say. You don't always have to do it somewhere before you're done. Constants. There's an N in there. It's right there. It's like cursive. Better? Constants. All right, does that make sense? Okay, are there any questions about those variables and those constants? Any questions? Now, in this equation, you can kind of think of it this way as z is like the dependent variable, and x and y are like the independent variable, but we have 2 of them. Okay, so it's kind of once again it's kind of like we have that multivariable function where we have 2 independents and a dependent again. Okay, so it's a lot like what we did previously. It's just another type of problem. If you have your books, we're going to look at page 30. If you don't have your book, that's fine too. But if you have your book, I would invite you to open up to page 30. So page 30 in our book. Now, in this, guys, as you're opening up, k and x, we say that we say that we say that z and x are direct or inverse. What do you guys think?
Which one?
Z and x, we'd say the relationship would be
Direct.
So z and y would be direct. If I was going to make this inverse, what would I have to do? Where would the x have to be? On the bottom. Okay, and those ones do exist as well. Okay. Where would y have to be for it to be inverse? On the bottom. Okay. If I put a minus sign in here, that we still classify that as direct. That's where it kind of gets kind of hazy, but we still classify as direct. Right? All right. Any questions about the general form? Any questions? Okay. So page 30, number 1. Now this one's about a young man named Brett who's being a little bit of an entrepreneur. All right. So it says many middle and high school students work on a service for a hire basis, and they reach the minimum age required for a real job. And I cannot talk. But they reach the minimum age required to apply for a real job. Brett mows lawns and washes cars in the neighborhood to earn spending money. He charges $20 per lawn and $10 per car wash. Sounds like a pretty good job, don't you think?
Yep.
Okay. You don't think so?
No.
In some cases, if you get like a lawnmower and car washing job with your neighbors, right? Sometimes it actually pays better than those real jobs you get at the mall, because kind of make their own hours, and you probably get paid more than you do. That's not bad. All right. Brett gets paid $10 an hour. It takes him 2 hours to mow the lawn. Getting the problem. Okay. All right. Part A. How much money would Brett earn for mowing 15 lawns and for washing 20 cars? So if he mows 15 lawns, right? 15 lawns. Well, how much is 15 lawns? How much does a lawn charge? How much does he charge for a lawn? 20. So how much does he make for mowing 15 lawns? 20 times 15, right? So if he mows 15 lawns, he makes 20 times 15, which is how much? Nope. What is it? 300. He makes $300 for mowing 15 lawns. Does that make sense? Does it make sense how I got that, guys?
That's good money.
Yeah? Okay. And it said he mows 20 cars, right? Or mows 20 cars. Washes 20 cars. If he mows the cars, he's not going to have a job for very long. Okay. How much does he make for washing 20 cars? What do I do?
How much do they charge?
Charges 10, right? 10 times 20 equals 200. Right? Alright, does that make sense? Make sense? Okay. So, what if he does both? Okay. What's his total income if he does both? $500. How'd you get that loan? Okay, you had them, right? So if this is, let's say this is a month's worth of work, then he's just made $500 in that month. Okay? Does that make sense? Does that make sense, guys? How I got that? Yeah. So what was his pay rates again?
20
So it's $20 per lawn and $10 per car. Okay. So that'd be important to know. $20 per lawn and $10 per car. All right. So for B, this is the next part. This is 1B. Brett's total income I is a function of the numbers of lawns mowed L and cars washed C. Write a rule to express I as a function of L and C. Now when they say write a rule, what are they looking for? We're looking for a, you said it, Nate. Okay, looking for a function, looking for an equation, right? Looking for equation. So for B, we need to write an equation for I, L, and C. Right? What did they say I was? Income. So I is income. What's L? Lawns. And what's C? Car wash, right? Our car's washed. Right? So we need to write an equation for this. Now we can use what we did back here as our example to kind of get started. Back here, what do we do? We multiply 20 and 15 because 20 was my, 20 is the constant's the rate, right? And 15 was the number of lawns, right? Multiply 10 and 20 because 10 was the constant and 20 is the number of cars. And then what do we do with those to get our answer? We multiply, right? And then we add them together. So we kind of did this, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now which one over here is my Z? I, the income. So I is in the same spot as the Z. Now which one over here could be my X? Lawns, okay. Which one could be my Y? The cars. Now I have some open spaces. Those open spaces are for what? Our constants, our K and our J, right? What are the constants here? 20 and 10, right? So which one gets 20? L. And which one gets 10? C. So here we have the equation, the rule for Brett's lawn mowing and car washing. Okay. He has to think of a better name besides lawn mowing and car wash. Okay. Does that make sense? Yeah. Let's check to make sure. Let's do what we did right here to make sure that equation works. So if he mows 15 lawns, that means 15 goes in for what?
L.
The L. And the 20 goes in for what? C. Let's try it out. So I equals 20 times 15 plus 10 times 20, right? And if we do this all on our calculator, 20 times 15 plus 10 times 20,
500.
what do we get?
500.
500. So does the equation work?
Yeah.
Yeah, the equation works. Like the same thing here as we did there. Does that make sense, guys? How I got that? All right. Let's try some examples. Okay. So we're going to leave Brett alone for a little bit. We'll come back to him in a bit. See how he does later on in the summer when he starts setting some goals.
Is that supposed to be funny?
No. I didn't smile. The smile usually gives away my joke. If I smile, that means I'm telling a joke. If I don't smile, that means I'm being sarcastic. Or I'm being serious. Either one. All right. So write an equation for each situation below. So we need to write an equation kind of like the I, L, and C equation we just wrote. Okay? So we got to write an equation for each of these situations. The first one is Jose and Dion are having a Michigan football watch party. That means they're going to watch the game with their friends. Okay? They're inviting their friends over. And they want to buy pizza and pop for their guests. If the pizza costs $5 and 2 liters of pop cost $1.50, write an equation for the cost C of the party in terms of the number of pizzas P and 2 liters L that they buy. So I want you guys to try to write an equation for this. Give it a shot. Right? Use C, P, and L instead of I, L, and C. Give it a shot. Josh, try it out?
Yeah,
Yeah? Okay. Haven't seen that elbow move.
it's all in the wrist.
Alright. Taking up on? No need paper? Sure?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna bring you some anyway. You memorizing it? Oh, you actually memorize better if you write down. Proven fact. At least in my life. Alright, number 1. What are our variables? C, P, and L, right? So C, P, and L. Those are our variables, right? Now, which one is like the income? C. And then P and L are like our lawns and our cars, right? Okay. So it's going to be C equals something in P plus something in L, right?
Yeah.
What goes with the P?
5.
5. What goes with the L? 1.5. So you guys got it. That's it. There's your equation. Okay. Can you guys try 2 and 3 on your own? I give 2 and 3 a shot. Try your examples.
It's weird, but.
seems interesting. I like those.
It's weird.
Yeah, that's the weird.
All right. So, you have enough time to try these out?
No.
No? Okay. Right. I'm going to try Vanessa and Amelia. Sorry, I changed names. Just realized that. You can pick. Is it Vanessa or Amelia? Vanessa. Okay, we'll go Vanessa. What? You like Amelia better? I thought Amelia might be a little older of a name, so instead of Vanessa. I don't know if I spelled Amelia right. So. I guess everybody spells things when they want to know anyway, so it's okay. All right, enough time? Yeah? Let's give it a shot. Number 2. Vanessa or Amelia, either one. So an older sister is buying back school supplies for her siblings. Box of pencils cost 75 cents and notebooks cost $3. Write an equation that shows how the cost of supplies S is related to the box of pencils P and notebooks N that the sister buys. So, what are my variables here? P, N, and S, right? Which one's like Z? S is like Z. Okay. Now, what are my constants? Nope, those aren't my constants. 0.75 and 3. Good. So, how do I write the equation? What's it going to look like? Good. Any questions about that one? No? Okay, last one. You're in charge of homecoming, so you decide to charge $10 for all advance tickets and $15 for tickets at the door. Write an equation for the income as a function of the number of advance tickets A and the door tickets D. So, what are you going to do? What does it look like? Maddie?
I equals 10 plus 10A plus 15.
Yes, sorry to cut you off, Andrea. Sorry to get you off. You were talking, sorry for interrupting. Does that make sense, guys? Nice job, Maddie. Make sense? Any questions? Any questions? Okay. Let's go back to Brett's situation now. Okay, so for part B, part C. Suppose that Brett has a goal to earn $1,200. So last hour we were trying to figure out what he wanted to buy. I think he wants to buy a riding mower because it'll make his job easier. Okay. Someone else said he wanted to buy a car, but I think they serve the same purpose, right?
Yes.
Here's a riding mower. It's cool if he drives that places, right?
No.
No? You can take a girl to homecoming on a riding mower. It'd work out.
No.
Okay. I'm from Jenison. You don't let it work out that way. All right. It's not really that country, but I do have to drive around tractors sometimes. All right. So he wants $1,200, right? Now, if we remember, his equation was I equals, where'd it go? 20L plus 10C. Look a lot like the ones we did for the example right there. So I equals 20L plus 10C. Now it says Brett wants to make $1,200. So where does the $1,200 go?
I.
And?
No, the I.
The I, good. Josh and Maddie, you're right, and I think a lot of you who said this too. The $1,200 is the I. I forgot this is part C. So I equals 20L plus 10C. Right? Now there are numerous combinations of L and C that will give Brett $1,200, aren't there?
Yes.
Yeah, there's tons of them. And we'll learn different ways to figure out those combinations. Okay? But today we're going to go with a method where we pick one value and then find the other. Okay? Notice I said pick a value and find the other. Not 20 times 10 plus 10 times 15 and see if it works. Okay? We're not doing 20 times 5 and 10 times 20 and seeing if it works. Okay? because that takes way too long. Right? What did I say we're going to do? We're going to pick a value, right? And find the other one. Okay, so we'll go through that now. So, 1C says, suppose that Brett has a goal of $1,200 and is scheduled to mow 50 lawns. So what value did we just pick?
50.
50 for what?
The lawn.
The lawn. So which variable is 50? L. So if Brett is scheduled to mow 50 lawns, then that means L equals 50. Right? Does that make sense? I've picked a value, haven't I? Now the rest of this question says, how many cars does he have to wash? So I've picked a value, and now I need to solve for the other one. So 1,200 equals 20 times 50, right? Because 50 is L, right? Right? Plus 10 C. Now what do I have here? An equation with only one variable, right? That I can solve using algebra. Good. Everybody's favorite zebra, right? Name is Al. No? Everybody's favorite algae? Name broth?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Alright. 20 times 50, what's that?
1,000.
Nice. So now what do I do? Subtract. Now I'm guessing some of you are saying, okay, he made 1,000 mowing lawns, so that means he needs to make 200 washing cars, right? And in your head you're doing, okay, what's 200 divided by 10? And now you already got 20, don't you? Yeah? What you just did was algebra in your head. So those of you that kind of common sense your way through that, you are doing algebra in your head. Everything you just did in your brain, we're going to do here showing the work. Okay? So when you said there's 200 left he still needs to make, what you did was you subtracted 1,000 from both sides. Right? Because you said he's made 1,000, you only need to make 200 more, didn't you? Okay? So now how much does he have left? 200. So after he mows his 50 lawns, he still has 200 left to make. And that equals 10C. Then you're going through your head, now how does 10 go into 200? And you might have trial and errored it. Okay, you might have said 2 times 10 is 20, but I need another 0, so it's got to be 20C. But really, what an easier way to do this is to divide. So 200 divided by 10 is
20.
So if Brett mows 50 lawns and washes 20 cars, then he will have met his goal of $1,200. Does that make sense? Yeah. Are there any questions? No? Okay. So what we've just found there, guys, is we found a solution to the situation. We found a solution to this scenario. I'm going off the script here a little bit because the book doesn't bring this up just yet, but I think it's important to talk about. Oh, got to skip there twice. Sorry about that. We found a solution to the scenario, right? How much does Brett want to make? 1,200. So we know Brett wants to make $1,200. One way he can do so is by mowing how many lawns? 50. And washing how many cars? 20. So that is a solution to Brett's problem of making $1,200. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
How can I find another solution? What did I tell you we're doing? We're picking a value and solving for the other one, right? We're picking a value and solving for the other. So, can I pick L? Yeah, can I pick C? It doesn't matter, does it? Right? We're picking a value, so pick a value and solve for the other. Oh, that's another. Solve for the other. Okay. So we know he wants to make $1,200. So let's pick a value. Let's pick a value. Pick one.
C.
What do you want to pick for C?
60.
60. He's going to want 60 cars. His hands are going to be pretty pruny. Okay. So now how do I figure out How many lawns he has to mow? Algebra, right? I go back to this right here, and instead of plugging in for L, we plug in for what? C. What do we plug in for C? 60. So do 1200 equals 20L plus 10 times 60, because Josh said that C equals 60. Can we solve now? Okay, so 10 times 60 is 600. We got 20L plus 600 equals 1200 still. Now what do we do? Minus subtract 600, good, from both sides. 1200 subtract 600, what is that? 12 subtract 6 is 6, right? So this is still 600. You're thinking 1400, weren't you?
Yeah.
Must be the sound system for his new lawnmower. Okay, so now what do I do? Divide by 20. 600 divided by 20? 30. So, if he chooses to wash 60 cars, how many lawns does he have to mow? 30. Does that make sense? Now let's say that Brett is getting his mower out to start his mowing season, and he realizes it's broken. And he doesn't think he can replace it until after he gets his $1,200. How many lawns is he going to mow?
About 90.
0. If his lawnmower is broken, he can only mow 0 lawns, can't he?
Yeah, but the car.
Right? So he can mow 0 lawns. He still wants to make $1,200. Right? So how many cars does he have to wash?
A lot.
A lot. Can you guys figure it out?
Easily.
Okay, give it a shot. Try to figure it out. Myra, we were supposed to be solving for C.
So random.
And now on YouTube.
Wait, what happened?
So Myra just asked a random question while we're filming this video. Should turn the camera on so that they can see how red your face is. Hey, let's do an algebra problem. Luis is just waiting. When is he gonna be done with this algebra problem? Okay, so in this one, what do we know? Which one do we know? Which variable? L or C?
C.
We know L.
We know L, right? L is what?
It is
0.
0. Right? I'm sorry. I'll just get started, Maddie. I'll give you time to finish up. Okay?
I got it now.
You got it now? Okay, so L is 0, so we have 20 times 0 plus 10C, right?
Yep.
What's 20 times 0?
0.
0, so then we have 1200 equals 0 plus 10C or just 10C, right? So now what do I do?
Divide by 10.
Divide by 10. Right?
120.
So 120 equals C. So that means if he mows 0 lawns, he has to wash 120 cars.
Oh, is that one again?
Now, let's say when he thought his lawnmower was broken, what it really needed was a sharpened blade. So while he was putting the blade back on after getting sharpened, he cuts his hand wide open and he gets stitches.
Are we
Okay? We're just making up scenarios now.
Alright.
He gets stitches. So before he washes any cars, the doctor tells him he can't wash cars for a month.
But he can.
But he can mow lawns.
Okay.
And I'm not the doctor. Don't ask me any questions, okay?
Alright.
But he can't wash any cars. So how many cars are you going to wash then?
None.
0. So can you guys figure out how many lawns he has to mow now?
Sure.
Yeah. Sure.
To equal 1,200.
Equal 1,200.
So are you happy about the Dolphins?
Monday night against the Saints. That'll be a good one. Why we sleep on Tuesday. Alright, so which variable we know, L or C?
Oh.
C. C is 0. So 1200 equals 20L plus 10 times 0. Right?
1200 equals. Equals 20.
Perfect.
Divide by 20.
Divided by 20. Good. 60? So that means he has to mow 60 lawns to make his $1,200 goal. Probably get some blisters on his hands. That's all right. All right, so does that make sense?
Yeah.
So now what those are over there, that table we made, those are a list of possible solutions for Brett to reach his goal of $1,200. So when they ask for a list of possible solutions, what they're asking you to do is find different combinations of the two variables that will equal what they picked for the third one. And to do that, you pick one variable, because every time we picked one, right? We picked 50, we picked 60, we picked 0, we picked 0. Every time you pick one variable and then solve for the other. And that'll work every single time. Does that make sense? Yeah, are there any questions? Okay.